Imagine waking up each morning with a sense of pride, not just in who you are, but in the financial future you're building. If you've ever dreamed of a life with less money stress and more confidence about your path ahead, you're in the right place. Today, we're talking about how to create a financial future you can truly be proud of. Instead of just throwing around numbers and budgets, we'll dig deeper into your mindset, your habits, and the small but powerful choices that lead to real change. Whether you're starting from scratch, bouncing back from setbacks, or just looking to level up, this video is your step-by-step guide. Let's stop watching others succeed and start building our own future, one intentional step at a time. Let's begin with something simple, but incredibly powerful, the idea of choice. I want you to take a deep breath right now and realize you're in the driver's seat. No matter what your financial story has looked like up until this moment, you have the ability to choose what happens next. It doesn't matter how much is in your bank account right now. It doesn't matter if you've made mistakes, or if you're just starting out and feeling behind. What matters is that you're here, listening, and thinking about your financial future. That choice alone, just deciding to pay attention and care, is bigger than you might think. Most people drift through their money lives just reacting to what happens. A bill arrives, so they pay it. A paycheck comes in, so they spend it. An emergency pops up, so they scramble and hope for the best. But what if, instead, you started to act with intention? What if you decided, today, that you're not just going to watch your money come and go, you're going to direct it? You see, building your financial future doesn't start with a windfall, a raise, or the right investment. It starts with a decision. A choice to own your story from this day forward. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to know all the answers. You don't even need to have a detailed plan yet. You just need to say to yourself, this is the moment I take ownership. I'm not going to let my financial life be random anymore. In fact, I want you to take a second and say that out loud, just for yourself. This is the moment I take ownership. Feel the weight of that. Let it sink in, because it's an incredibly powerful thing. Some people think that financial success is reserved for others. They see people who seem to have it all together, people who invest, who save, who talk about smart money moves, and they think, well, that's just not me. But the truth is, nobody is born financially savvy. Nobody wakes up one day magically in control of their money. It all starts with a single choice. A decision to begin. Think about the stories you tell yourself about money. Maybe you grew up hearing, money doesn't grow on trees, or we just get by. Maybe you've told yourself, I'm bad with money, or I'll never get ahead. But those stories, the ones that play on repeat in your head, don't have to be the ending. They don't even have to be the middle. You have the power, right now, to start a new chapter. And it starts with a choice. Maybe your choice today is to open up your bank app and look at your balances, even if that feels intimidating. Maybe your choice is to set aside 5 minutes to think about your goals, not just what you want to buy, but the kind of life you want to build. Or maybe your choice is just listening to this podcast and leaning in, even if you feel nervous or unsure. Every one of those choices counts. You know, it's easy to compare yourself to others and wonder why you're not further along. But everyone starts somewhere. And the real difference between those who build a life they're proud of and those who don't isn't luck, or talent, or even starting with a lot. The difference is the decision to take control. To say, I'm responsible for what I do next. I'm the author of this story. When you make that choice, you give yourself something invaluable: agency. You step out of the passenger seat and into the driver's seat. Maybe that feels a little scary. When you take ownership, you're also taking responsibility. You're saying, if things aren't working, I can change them. And honestly, that's a little daunting. But it's also incredibly freeing. Because if you're in control, it means you have the power to shape your own future. You don't have to wait for someone else to rescue you. You don't have to hope that a winning lottery ticket lands in your lap. You can start taking steps, big or small, that move you toward the life you want. Maybe nobody ever taught you about money. Maybe you faced setbacks, lost jobs, made choices you regret. That's okay. What matters is what you do now. What matters is deciding that your past doesn't define your next move. There's an old saying, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. That's how it works with your finances, too. You can't change what's already happened. But you can choose, right now, to plant those seeds for your future. Maybe you're thinking, but I don't know where to start. That's normal. Most people, when they make the choice to take ownership, don't have all the pieces figured out. And honestly, you don't need to. You just need to commit to the journey. To decide, I'm not just going to let life happen to me. I'm going to make things happen for me. Sometimes, that means making one small change at a time. It might mean tracking your spending for the first time, just to see what's really going on. Or calling your bank to ask a question, even if it feels awkward. Or starting a conversation with a friend or partner about money, even if it feels uncomfortable. The important thing is to start. To make a conscious, intentional choice. And to remind yourself that it's okay to start small. Big change is really just a series of little choices, stacked up over time. Maybe you're finding yourself hesitating. You might wonder if it's really worth it. You might think, what difference will it make? I'm just one person, starting with so little. But let me tell you, every big success story you've ever heard started this way. With someone making a decision, often in private, to simply do things differently. To step out of autopilot and into action. Think about someone you admire financially. Someone who seems confident about money, who's built stability and freedom. Chances are, they started out not knowing everything, either. But they made the choice to pay attention. To face the numbers, even when it felt uncomfortable or overwhelming. To keep learning, keep trying, and keep making choices with intention. You have that same power. No one else can make this decision for you. Not your boss, your family, your friends, not even a financial advisor. You're the one who decides what kind of future you want to build. And you get to do it on your own terms. Your starting point doesn't determine your destination. It's just a place where you begin. Maybe your starting point feels messy. Maybe it feels uncertain, or even a little hopeless. But that's not the full story. You're here, right now, listening and thinking about your future. That's already a choice most people never make. So give yourself some credit. You've taken the first, and most important, step. You know, when you choose to take ownership, you'll start to notice something powerful. You'll notice that the little decisions matter. Deciding to cook at home instead of ordering out. Deciding to check your account balance instead of avoiding it. Deciding to set aside a few dollars for savings, even when it's hard. These choices start to stack up. They build confidence. They show you that you are capable of changing your story. And with every choice, you start to trust yourself a little more. That trust is the foundation for everything you want to build. For a lot of people, the hardest part is just getting started. It's easy to get caught up in what you should have done differently. To look back at missed opportunities or past mistakes and think, why bother? But what if you looked forward, instead of backward? What if you let go of regret, just for today, and focused on what you can do now? You can't go back and change the past. But you can make a single choice today that moves you closer to the future you want. You don't need a dramatic gesture. You don't need to do everything perfectly. All you need is the willingness to take ownership, one step at a time. Sometimes, that means having honest conversations with yourself. Asking questions like, what do I really want my life to look like? What would it feel like to be proud of my money decisions? What am I willing to do differently, starting now? Those questions can feel big, maybe even scary. But sitting with them, letting yourself be curious, that's how you start to open new doors. You might not have all the answers right away. You might not even know the right questions to ask. But making the choice to try, to pay attention, to take ownership, that's where the journey begins. And it's a journey worth taking. Because ultimately, nobody else cares about your financial future the way you do. Nobody else wakes up every morning thinking about what matters most to you. You're the one who lives with your decisions, good and bad. You're the one who gets to celebrate your wins and learn from your missteps. So why not be the one who chooses? Why not be the one who decides, I deserve better, and I'm willing to work for it? That's not selfish. That's responsibility. That's self-respect. And it's the beginning of every great financial story. If you're worried you've waited too long, remember, there's no expiration date on change. It doesn't matter if you're 18 or 80. It doesn't matter if you have debts to pay, or if you're starting from scratch. The only thing that matters is the choice you make right now. Choosing to take ownership doesn't mean you won't make mistakes along the way. It doesn't mean the path will be easy, or always clear. But it does mean you're in motion. You're building momentum. And with each small step, you're laying the foundation for lasting change. So as you listen today, I want you to give yourself permission to start. You don't need to know how it will all play out. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need to say to yourself, I'm ready to take ownership. That is the power of choice. That is where your financial journey begins. And it's a journey I promise is worth every step. Let's pause for a moment and consider something we don't often talk about when it comes to money, our mindset. Not the numbers, not the strategy, but what's happening beneath the surface. So much of our relationship with money is shaped long before we ever have a paycheck in our hands. Maybe you grew up in a family where money was a constant stress, where every dollar was counted and worried over. Or maybe money was never really discussed at all, so it just felt mysterious and a bit intimidating. Sometimes, we inherit beliefs from our parents or even our culture, ideas like money doesn't grow on trees or people like us just never get ahead. It's easy to overlook how deeply these stories are woven into how we think and feel about money today. But here's the thing, your beliefs about money aren't set in stone. They're learned. And anything learned can be unlearned, reshaped, and rebuilt. So, let's start by asking, what's your story with money? When you think about your finances, do you feel anxious? Hopeful? Maybe a little overwhelmed, or even guilty? Take a second. Notice what comes up. A lot of us carry around invisible scripts. Things like, I'll never be good with money, or I'm just not smart enough to figure this out. But imagine for a second that those thoughts aren't facts. They're just habits, mental habits. And like any habit, with awareness, we can change them. So, how do we begin to shift our mindset? It starts with simply noticing the patterns. Let's say you catch yourself thinking, I always mess up my budget. Instead of letting that thought run the show, pause and challenge it. Ask yourself, is that really true? Every single time? Or have there been moments, even small ones, when you made a good choice? Usually, we're much harder on ourselves than we would ever be on a friend. If a friend told you, I'm terrible with money, you'd probably point out the times they saved, or handled a tough situation, or worked hard to pay off a bill. What if you offered yourself that same kindness? Self-talk matters, especially when it comes to money. The more we tell ourselves, I can't, the more we start to believe it. But the good news? That door swings both ways. You can just as easily practice telling yourself, I'm learning, or I'm making progress, even if it's messy. So, try this over the next week. Listen for those negative money thoughts. Don't judge them, just notice. When they pop up, take a breath and gently reframe. Instead of I always overspend, try I'm working on spending with more intention. Instead of I'll never get out of debt, try I'm taking steps, one at a time, to improve my situation. It might sound simple, but catching and changing those patterns is powerful. Our beliefs drive our actions. If you believe you're capable of learning and growing, you're way more likely to take those first small steps. But if you're convinced you're doomed to fail, it's easy to stay stuck. Think of your money mindset like the foundation of a house. If it's shaky, full of cracks and doubts, everything built on top feels uncertain. But when that foundation is strong, when you believe in your own ability to change, everything gets easier. Now, let's talk about some of those old fears that pop up for almost everyone. Maybe you're afraid of making a mistake, so you put off looking at your bank statement. Or maybe you avoid talking about money at all, worried you'll sound foolish or get judged. I want you to know, these fears are normal. Money is emotional. It touches every part of our lives, from our sense of security to our relationships and our dreams for the future. But hiding from those fears only lets them grow bigger. What if, instead, you got curious about them? Ask yourself, where did this fear come from? Is it based on something that actually happened, or is it a story that's been handed down to you? Sometimes, just naming the fear takes away some of its power. And here's something else: everyone makes mistakes with money. Everyone. Even the people who seem like they have it all together. The difference isn't that some people never stumble, it's that they pick themselves up and keep going. So, next time you catch yourself feeling ashamed or afraid because of a financial misstep, try to meet yourself with understanding. Mistakes are not proof that you're not good with money. They're proof you're trying, and that's where change begins. Let's take a moment for a little exercise. Think back to a time you handled a financial challenge, big or small. Maybe you negotiated a bill, or found a way to save, or just figured out how to make things work when things were tight. What qualities did you use? Did you get creative? Stay persistent? Ask for help? Those skills are just as much a part of your financial toolkit as knowing how to balance a checkbook. Celebrate those moments. They're evidence that you already have what it takes to grow. Now, let's look ahead. If you could transform your relationship with money, what would that look like? Would you feel more confident? More at peace? More in control? Picture yourself a few years from now, looking back on today. What would you want to thank yourself for starting? Holding that image in your mind can help guide your decisions when things get tough. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. Changing your mindset doesn't mean you'll never worry about money again. It means you're willing to approach it with curiosity, honesty, and self-compassion. You might try reading books, listening to podcasts, or even talking with friends about money. Hearing other people's stories can be a powerful reminder that you're not alone in this. And the more you surround yourself with positive, honest conversations about money, the easier it gets to shift your own beliefs. Here's another mindset shift that can make a huge difference. Try focusing on what you can control, not what you can't. You can't control the economy, or what your boss decides, or if an unexpected expense pops up. But you can control how you respond. You can choose to make a plan, ask for advice, or take a small action, even if it's just reviewing your budget for the week. Every little choice counts. And every time you take action, you're strengthening your sense of agency, the feeling that you have a say in your own future. Let's be honest, there will always be ups and downs. Some months will feel smoother than others. But if you come back to your mindset, again and again, you'll notice you recover faster from setbacks. You'll start to see challenges as opportunities to learn, instead of proof that you should give up. This is what resilience looks like, not avoiding problems, but meeting them head-on, trusting that you'll figure things out along the way. And remember, your worth is not defined by the size of your bank account. You are not your net worth, your credit score, or the number in your savings account. Money is just a tool, a resource you can learn to manage. It does not determine your value as a person. So as you work on building new habits and taking control of your finances, try to let go of shame and comparison. Your journey is yours alone. Every step forward, no matter how small, deserves to be celebrated. If you're finding it hard to believe in your own ability to change, try borrowing belief from someone else for a little while. Listen to stories of people who started from scratch. Remind yourself that no one is born knowing how to manage money. It's a skill, and you can learn it, too. So here's what I want you to take away. Your mindset isn't fixed. Every time you choose to believe you can learn, you open up new possibilities. Every time you notice an old, negative pattern, you have a chance to gently rewrite it. And every time you take a small, intentional action, you're proving to yourself that change is possible. Let's make a commitment, right now, together, to treat ourselves with patience and respect on this journey. To notice our thoughts without judgment. To be willing to try new things, even if we're scared or unsure. And to remember that progress is built one choice, one belief, one step at a time. Your relationship with money can be transformed, not by a single breakthrough, but by steady, loving attention. When you shift your mindset, everything else starts to change. You begin to see opportunities where there used to be obstacles. You bounce back from setbacks with more strength and less shame. Most importantly, you start to trust yourself to handle whatever comes your way. So, as we move forward, setting goals, building habits, and navigating challenges, keep coming back to this foundation. Growth starts in the mind. You have the power to build a new story, starting today. And I'm here, cheering you on, every step of the way. Let's talk about setting goals, real goals. The kind that actually pull you forward, even on the days you feel like standing still. Most of us have wishes when it comes to money. Maybe you've caught yourself saying things like, I'd love to save more, or one day, I want to buy a house, or it would be nice to travel. These are dreams, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with them. Dreams spark our imagination. But to turn those dreams into reality, we need something more. We need goals that are clear, specific, and, most importantly, meaningful to us. Think about it. If a goal doesn't actually matter to you, it's going to fade the moment life gets hectic or obstacles pop up. So before you start writing down numbers, let's pause for a moment. Ask yourself, what do I really want my money to do for me? Picture your life a year from now, 5 years from now. What would be different? Where would you live? What would you be doing? Who would be there with you? If you could wave a magic wand, how would your financial life look? Take a mental snapshot of that vision. Now, let's bring it down to earth. Let's take those big, exciting dreams and break them into steps you can actually measure and achieve. Here's the thing about goals, they're not just about the achievement at the end. They're about giving you direction, a reason to keep going when the excitement wears off. Studies show we're much more likely to make progress when our goals are specific. So instead of, I want to save more, you might say, I want to save $1,000 in the next 6 months to build my emergency fund. Now you have a target. But targets alone don't inspire action. Meaning does. You need to know why this matters to you. So let's dig into that for a minute. Why do you want to save that $1,000? Is it peace of mind? Is it so you can sleep better at night, knowing you're covered if the car breaks down? Maybe it's about having options, or the freedom to say yes to opportunities that come your way. The more personal your goal feels, the more motivating it becomes. Let's try this with a bigger dream, like owning a home. Maybe right now, that feels completely out of reach, and that's okay. Instead of focusing on the mountain, look for the first step on the trail. That might be, I want to save $5,000 for a down payment by next year. And then, keep zooming in. How much is that per month? Per paycheck? Suddenly, the big goal becomes small, steady actions you can take week after week. And here's a little secret: progress, not perfection, is what truly builds confidence. Each month you set aside a little more, you're proving to yourself that you can do this. So, how do you know you've set a good financial goal? There's a simple test I love, the SMART framework. Let's break it down. Specific: does your goal say exactly what you want to achieve? Measurable: can you track your progress along the way? Achievable: is it realistic, given your current situation? Relevant: does it align with what really matters to you? Time-bound: have you set a deadline to keep yourself accountable? Let's say your goal is to pay off your credit card. Instead of saying, "I want to be debt-free," try, "I want to pay off $2,500 in credit card debt over the next 12 months by paying $210 each month." Now, you know exactly what you're aiming for, how you'll do it, and when you want to make it happen. That clarity is powerful. It takes away the overwhelm and replaces it with a plan. But even with a great plan, motivation can fade. Life gets busy, and sometimes your goals can feel like just another chore. That's why it helps to keep your why visible. Write it down. Stick it on your bathroom mirror or your fridge, somewhere you'll see it every day. Maybe it's a sticky note that says, "Freedom," or a picture of your dream vacation, or even a list of what reaching this goal will mean to you. The point is, remind yourself why you started. When you do, those small daily steps will start to feel more meaningful. Another powerful trick? Celebrate every milestone. If your goal is to save $1,000, don't wait until the full amount is in your account to feel proud. Celebrate when you hit the first $100, then $300, then $500. Each step forward is proof you're getting closer. It's easy to get caught up in comparison. Maybe you see someone online who just bought a house, or a friend who's vacationing in Europe, and you start to feel behind. Can I tell you something? Your journey is your own. There's no deadline on building a future you're proud of. Set goals that actually excite you, not what you think you should want, but what lights you up inside. Maybe for you, it's being debt-free so you can breathe easier every month. Maybe it's being able to help your parents, or take your kids to Disney World, or start a side business. Money is just a tool. Your goals give it purpose. Let's talk about making your goals stick. One thing that helps is breaking them down into actions you can take today, not just someday. If your goal is to save $5,000 for a down payment, that might feel overwhelming. But what can you do this week? Could you open a high-yield savings account and set up an automatic transfer? Could you track your spending to find an extra $20 to save? Each small action moves you forward, and over time, those actions add up. It's like building a wall, one brick at a time. Some days, you'll add a big brick. Other days, it might just be a pebble. The important thing is to keep building. Accountability matters, too. Tell someone you trust about your goal. Ask them to check in with you. Or, write your progress down somewhere you'll see it, a notebook, an app, even a calendar where you mark every month you hit your target. If you miss a month, don't give up. Life happens. Adjust if you need to. Progress isn't always a straight line, and that's okay. What matters is that you keep going. Sometimes, you may need to adjust your goals. Maybe you got an unexpected expense, or your income changed, or you realized your original goal was a little too ambitious. That's not failure, that's wisdom. Goals are meant to serve you, not trap you. It's okay to revise them as your life changes. Let's touch on some examples. Maybe your dream is to travel more. Your first goal could be, I want to save $2,000 for a trip to Italy in 18 months. Then, work it backwards. $2,000 over 18 months is about $110 each month. That's your monthly target. Or maybe you want to start investing. Your goal might be, I want to invest $50 a month in a retirement account for the next year. That might seem small, but over time, it grows. And each month you invest, you're building a habit and building momentum. The beauty of goal setting is that it adapts with you. As you grow, your goals can grow, too. Maybe you start with $10 a week in savings, then later bump it up as you get a raise or your expenses go down. Every step counts. It's also important to set goals that cover all areas of your financial life, not just saving, but spending, giving, and growing. For example, you might set a goal to track your spending for 30 days to see where your money actually goes. Or, to donate a certain percentage of your income to a cause that matters to you. Or, to spend intentionally, giving yourself permission to enjoy your money where it matters. Balance is key. It's not just about depriving yourself or cutting out every joy. It's about making room for what matters most, while still working toward your bigger dreams. So, let's recap the steps to setting inspiring financial goals. Start with your vision. What do you want your money to do for you? Don't filter it, let yourself really imagine the possibilities. Get specific. Turn your dreams into clear, measurable goals with numbers and deadlines. Connect to your why. Write it down. Make it personal. Break the big goal into small, actionable steps. What can you do today, this week, this month? Track your progress. Celebrate every win, no matter how small. Tell someone. Get accountability. And finally, be kind to yourself. Adjust as needed, and remember, it's about progress, not perfection. Your goals are a living thing. They grow and change with you. Some seasons, you will sprint. Other times, you will walk. But as long as you're moving forward, you're winning. So, take a few moments after this episode. Grab a notebook or the Notes app on your phone. Write down one financial goal that feels exciting to you, just one. Make it specific, give it a deadline, and jot down why it matters. Then, write the very first step you can take. Just the first one. Do it today, if you can. Because when you start moving, things start shifting. Motivation follows action, not the other way around. With every step, you're building a future that feels a little more yours, a future you can be proud of. Let yourself dream, but don't stop there. Turn those dreams into goals, and those goals into actions. That's how change happens. That's how you build something lasting. You deserve to have goals that fill you with purpose and pride. Ones that fit your life, your values, your dreams. And no matter where you're starting, you have everything you need to take the next step. Let your goals inspire you into action, and remember, every great journey starts with just one clear step. Now, let's talk about where real financial change happens, not in some big, dramatic moment, but in the small, almost invisible choices you make every single day. It's easy to imagine that financial success is about grand gestures, a huge windfall, a brilliant investment, or a perfectly timed career move. But the truth is, it's the quiet, daily habits that build your future. Think about it like planting a tree. You don't see it grow overnight. But with a little bit of water, a bit of sunlight, and care each day, it starts to transform. And before you know it, something sturdy and beautiful stands where there was only empty ground. Your financial habits are exactly like that. Let's start with one of the most powerful habits you can develop, tracking your spending. Now, I know, just the mention of tracking expenses might make you want to hit the skip button. But stay with me for a moment. This single habit is like turning on the lights in a dark room. Suddenly, all those little leaks and forgotten purchases become visible. It's not about shaming yourself for nitpicking every dollar. It's about gaining clarity. You can do this in whatever way feels least painful. Some people love apps that sync with their accounts automatically. Others keep a tiny notebook or jot things down in their phone each day. It doesn't matter how fancy your system is, the key is to simply notice. At the end of each week, just take a few minutes to review where your money actually went versus where you thought it would go. You might be surprised. Maybe you discover a few oops moments, a bunch of coffee runs, or a subscription you forgot about. Or maybe you realize you're actually doing better than you thought. Either way, this habit is the root of all positive change. You can't improve what you don't see. And here's the secret, it gets easier. At first, it might feel awkward. You might even forget some days. But like brushing your teeth or grabbing your keys before you leave, it starts to become automatic. This daily awareness is your superpower. Now, once you're tracking, the next small habit is giving your money a job. This is about intention. Instead of letting your paycheck float in and out of your account, start telling it what to do. Before you spend that first dollar, decide where it's going. Create categories that matter to you: essentials, fun, savings, paying down debt. There are budgeting methods that help with this, but you don't need anything fancy. Just decide, I want X for groceries, Y for fun, Z for savings this week. Even if the numbers are small, it's the act of planning that matters. This habit brings a sense of control. Suddenly, your money isn't just slipping through your fingers. It has a purpose. And you can change that plan as your life changes. Nothing is set in stone. Consistency is what counts. Now, let's talk about one of the best modern tools for building wealth: automation. Life is busy, and motivation comes and goes. That's normal. But what if you could set your finances to improve even when you're not thinking about it? That's where automating savings and bills comes in. Let's say you want to build an emergency fund. Instead of waiting until the end of the month to see what's left, set up an automatic transfer to savings, even if it's just $5 or $10 a week. The amount doesn't matter as much as the habit. You'll be amazed how quickly those small amounts add up. The same goes for retirement accounts, investing, or paying down debt. Set up automatic contributions. Make it so that good things happen with your money, even on your most exhausted, unmotivated days. It's like setting up your environment to help you win. And here's a little secret: when you automate, you take willpower out of the equation. You remove those moments of hesitation, the should I, shouldn't I debates. It just happens, quietly and reliably. Now, maybe you're thinking, but what if I can't afford to save much? That's okay. You can only start from where you are. Even tiny, consistent steps matter. If it's $1, it's $1. The point is to create the rhythm of saving, no matter how small. You're proving to yourself that you can do it. That self-trust is the foundation for bigger things later. All right, let's talk about spending, because, let's be honest, we all want to enjoy life, and you should. A great daily habit is practicing mindful spending. This isn't about restriction, it's about alignment. Before you buy something, pause for a second. Ask yourself, does this purchase really fit my priorities right now? Does it add real value, or is it just a quick fix? You'd be surprised how often a little pause can help you make better choices, without feeling deprived. Maybe you put something back. Maybe you realize you really do want it and enjoy it even more. The goal isn't to say no to everything, it's to say yes to what matters most. This habit, over time, helps you spend with intention and avoid that nagging regret later. Let's add one more daily practice, checking in with your goals. This doesn't have to be a big production. Just a quick review, maybe in the morning, maybe before bed. Remind yourself what you're working toward. Okay, I'm saving for that emergency fund. I'm trying to pay off this credit card. I want a little cushion for travel or family. This keeps your dreams top of mind, which makes it much easier to stay on track day after day. You can even write your goal on a sticky note and put it on your bathroom mirror, or set a reminder on your phone. Whatever keeps you connected. Because, honestly, motivation fades, especially when progress feels slow or life gets busy. But these tiny reminders, stacked on top of your other habits, keep your momentum going. And speaking of momentum, let's talk about something that's easy to overlook: building habits you actually enjoy. If every step of your financial plan feels like a punishment, you won't stick with it. So, find ways to make your habits rewarding. Maybe you can pair your weekly expense review with a coffee date, just you, your notebook, and your favorite drink. Or turn your savings goal into a game. Can you beat your record from last month, even by $1? Small rewards, like a treat or a little celebration, can add joy to the process. Don't underestimate the power of celebrating tiny wins. Now, the truth is, even with great habits in place, you're going to have days, maybe weeks, when you slip up. You buy something you didn't plan for. You forget to track for a few days. Life gets messy. That's normal. The key is not to let those moments derail you. Instead, treat each day as a fresh start. There's no need for guilt or self-judgment. Just gently return to your habits. Remember, it's about progress, not perfection. Every day is a chance to get back on track. Let's go deeper on some practical, real-world examples that might fit your life, no matter your income or schedule. If you get paid weekly or bi-weekly, set a calendar alert on payday to check your account. Look at what came in, what bills are coming up, and transfer your planned savings immediately, even if it's only a small amount. This takes 5 minutes, but it gives you the steering wheel, so you're not caught off guard. If you use cash for certain expenses, try the envelope method. Put your grocery budget, for example, in a physical envelope. When it's gone, it's gone. This helps create boundaries in a way that's tactile and easy to follow. Or, if you spend mostly with a card, use your bank's app to set spending alerts. You can get a notification if you're getting close to a chosen limit. It's like having an accountability partner in your pocket. And if you want to save a little extra painlessly, try the round-up method. Many banks and apps will round your purchases up to the next dollar and automatically deposit the difference into savings. You won't even notice it, but those little bits add up over time. Now, let's talk about when motivation runs low, because it will. Maybe you're tired, or maybe life throws you a curveball. This is where your systems save you. Reviewing your finances doesn't have to be a big, stressful event. Just 5 minutes a day is enough. Maybe while you're waiting for your coffee to brew, or on your commute. Glance at your spending, check your balance, update your savings, or simply remind yourself of your why. The goal is to make managing money just another part of your daily rhythm, like brushing your teeth or checking your messages. Nothing dramatic, nothing overwhelming. Just small, steady actions. And if you ever want a burst of inspiration, try finding a community, online or in person, of people with similar goals. There are incredible groups and forums where people share tips, struggles, and wins. You'll realize you're not alone. Borrow ideas, share your progress, even ask for help if you get stuck. We learn best when we don't go it alone. Let's recap these habits, because they really are the heart of lasting change. Track your spending, even if it's messy at first. Give your money a job before you spend it. Automate what you can, so you make progress even on off days. Practice mindful spending, asking yourself if each purchase aligns with your priorities. Check in with your goals regularly to keep your eyes on the prize. Make your habits rewarding, even in small ways. And when you slip up, just start again the next day. All of these steps feed into each other, building momentum over time. Here's what happens when you stick with it, even imperfectly. First, you'll start to feel a sense of control. You'll know where your money is going, and you'll see your savings grow, even if it's slow. You'll spend less time feeling anxious or confused, because you're facing the facts, day by day. You'll catch yourself making better choices, almost without thinking. And over months and years, these tiny actions compound. They become the firm foundation for your financial future. When you look back, you'll realize how far you've come. All from small, daily steps. So, wherever you are right now, whether you've already started or you're just thinking about it, know that you have everything it takes to build good financial habits. Start with one change, then build another. Keep it simple. Remember that good habits aren't about willpower, they're about creating a life where the right choice is the easy choice. A little structure, a little automation, a little intention each day. That's it. You don't need to have all the answers, and you don't need to be perfect. Just show up for yourself, one day at a time. Over time, those small habits won't just change your bank account, they'll change how you see yourself. you'll become someone who takes care of their future with patience and pride. And that is something worth celebrating. In the next part, we'll talk about what happens when life throws you a curveball and how to keep going, even when things get tough. Let's be honest, no one's financial journey is a straight, smooth road. Even the most carefully made plans hit bumps. Life happens. Unexpected expenses pop up, jobs change, the economy shifts, or motivation just fades. You're not alone if you've ever felt stuck, behind, or even like you're starting over from scratch. But here's a truth I want you to hold on to. A setback is not the end of your story. It's just a step, sometimes a detour, sometimes a pause, but never the finish line. Let's talk about how to navigate those moments, and more importantly, how to bounce back stronger. First, let's normalize setbacks. If you've hit a rough patch, maybe dipped into your savings, or missed a goal, it doesn't mean you're failing. It just means you're human. Every journey, especially one worth taking, will have tough stretches. Think about this: every runner stumbles, every climber loses their grip now and then, and every person building something new faces doubts. So, give yourself permission to feel disappointed, but don't let it turn into shame. There's a difference between taking responsibility and beating yourself up. Responsibility says, "What can I learn from this?" Shame says, "I'll never get it right." Choose responsibility. Now, let's look at some of the most common obstacles people face. Sometimes the challenge is purely external, maybe a sudden car repair, a medical bill, or an unexpected job loss. Other times, the biggest obstacles show up in our own minds: self-doubt, fear, or the urge to give up when progress feels slow. Sometimes, it's both. So, how do we respond? Let's break it down. First, when life throws an unexpected expense your way, there's a real temptation to panic. But pause. Take a breath. Separate the emotion from the math. Look at the numbers without judgment. What's the actual impact? Is it a setback for this month, or does it shift your plan for the next few months? What resources do you have? An emergency fund, a side hustle, family support? Instead of spiraling, try to see the situation as a puzzle, not a failure. If you've used your emergency fund, remind yourself that's what it's there for. You planned for the unexpected, and now you're handling it exactly as you should. If the setback is bigger than your emergency cushion, focus on small, actionable steps. Could you temporarily pause extra savings or find one expense to cut back, just for now? Remember, you don't have to fix everything overnight. When it comes to job changes or loss of income, the challenges can feel overwhelming. But your skills and resourcefulness go with you, no matter where you work. If you need to shift gears into a different job, or even start something new on the side, that's not just survival, it's resilience. Reach out for support. Talk to friends, family, or even online communities. Sometimes, just knowing you're not alone makes all the difference. Now, let's talk about the obstacles that come from within. If you're feeling discouraged because you haven't hit a goal as quickly as you'd hoped, remember, progress is rarely linear. You might save steadily for months, then hit a patch where nothing seems to stick. That doesn't erase the growth you've already made. It just means there's more to learn. When you notice those old doubts creep in, I'll never get ahead, or why bother? Pause for a moment. Recognize the thought, but don't accept it as fact. Ask yourself, is this belief actually true? Or is it just the voice of fear, trying to keep me small? Replace it with something more honest. Like, this is hard, but I've done hard things before. Or, I've gotten through challenges before, and I will again. Sometimes, the obstacle is boredom or burnout. Maybe you set a big goal, worked hard for a few months, and now your motivation has fizzled. That's totally normal. Motivation is like a battery, it needs recharging. This is where your habits and routines come in. Even if you don't feel like tracking your spending, try to do the smallest version of your habit. If you're tired of cooking every meal, allow yourself an occasional treat, but keep your eye on the bigger picture. A setback doesn't have to slide into a spiral. A missed day, or even a missed month, doesn't mean giving up. It just means you start again, as many times as you need to. Another common challenge is comparison. We live in a world where it's easy to see everyone else's highlight reel. Maybe your friends just bought a house, or someone you follow online seems to have it all figured out. It's easy to start feeling like you're behind, or not doing enough. But remember, you're running your own race. Your path, your pace. You don't know the full story behind someone else's success or their struggles. The only real comparison that matters is between where you are now and where you started. When things go wrong, and eventually, they will, here's a simple process to help you get back on track. First, pause and assess. What happened? What triggered the setback? Was it truly out of your control, or is there something you can learn for next time? Next, adjust your plan. If you need to reset your goals, that's okay. Shorten the timeline, lower the number, or change the focus for now. It's better to keep moving, even if it's slower, than to stop entirely. Then, focus on one action you can take today. Maybe it's reworking your budget, reaching out for advice, or just journaling your feelings. Small actions rebuild momentum. And finally, give yourself credit for showing up. Resilience isn't about never falling down. It's about getting up, over and over again. Now, let's talk about building that resilience muscle. Because it can be strengthened, just like any other skill. One powerful tool is reflection. When you face a setback, spend a few minutes writing down what happened, how you felt, and what you might do differently next time. This isn't about blaming yourself, it's about understanding your patterns and preparing for the future. Another tool is connection. Share your journey with a friend, partner, or community. Sometimes, saying, "Hey, I'm struggling right now," is all it takes to break through isolation and shame. You might be surprised how many people say, "Me too." And sometimes, fresh perspectives lead to new solutions you wouldn't have thought of alone. Don't underestimate the power of small wins. If your big goals feel out of reach, focus on something manageable. Maybe you save $5 this week, or resist an impulse buy. Maybe you just review your bank account and face the numbers. Celebrate every single step. Progress is progress, no matter how small. Now, If you notice the same setback recurring again and again, like overspending every month, or always dipping into your savings, view it as information, not a personal flaw. Ask yourself gently, what need am I trying to meet? Is it comfort, escape, or maybe just habit? Once you spot the pattern, you can make a plan to address it. Maybe it means setting up an automatic transfer so saving happens before you ever see the money. Maybe it's creating a tiny fund so you don't feel deprived. Or maybe it's simply checking in with yourself before each purchase. Do I really need this, or am I trying to fill another need? You have options. You're not stuck. Sometimes, life throws a really big challenge your way, an emergency, a job loss, a family crisis. In those seasons, your only job may be to get through. It's okay to hit the pause button on savings, on debt repayment, on everything. Taking care of yourself and your loved ones comes first. Give yourself grace for whatever season you're in. The journey will still be there when you're ready to pick it back up. Some setbacks are actually opportunities. Maybe a budget shortfall pushes you to find freelance work you end up loving. Or maybe a failed attempt at saving teaches you a new approach that finally sticks. Don't be afraid to iterate. Your plan isn't set in stone. It's a living document, meant to grow and change with you. If you fall off track, remember why you started. Reconnect to your why. Is it peace of mind? Security for your family? The freedom to travel, or maybe just a sense of independence? Whatever it is, keep it close. Write it down, keep it visible, and let it refuel you when things get tough. And remember, setbacks aren't just stumbling blocks, they can be stepping stones. Each one teaches you something about yourself, your needs, and your strengths. They reveal areas where you're resilient and places where you can grow. The secret isn't to dodge every challenge. It's to keep going, no matter what. To sum it up, setbacks will happen. They're part of the process. But they don't define your potential, and they don't erase your progress. Every step you take, even the ones that feel like detours, puts you further along than where you started. So, next time you hit a bump in your financial plan, remember this: you're not failing. You're learning. You're building resilience. And with each obstacle you overcome, you're proving to yourself that you can handle whatever comes your way. Stay flexible. Stay compassionate with yourself. And most importantly, keep going. Your future self will thank you for every time you chose to get back up, dust off, and move forward. You've got this. And you're not in it alone. Let's take a breath together. I want you to pause for just a moment. Think back to where you started. Maybe it was just a curiosity, a hope, or even a little frustration that pushed you to tune in and take action. Now, look at how far you've come. Seriously, give yourself some genuine credit. You made a choice to show up for yourself, to listen, to learn, and to consider a new path for your financial future. That's not a small thing. Most people stay exactly where they are, stuck in the same routines, watching from the sidelines, wishing for some magic change. But you didn't. You decided to try, to take even the smallest step forward. And whether you're seeing massive changes or tiny shifts, every single bit of progress is worth celebrating. Because this journey isn't about being perfect. It's not about never making mistakes or always sticking to your plan without fail. It's about moving, even if it's inch by inch, in a direction that matters to you. So, if you caught yourself checking your bank statement this week, or you finally sat down to set your first budget, that's progress. If you resisted the urge to splurge on something you didn't truly want, progress. If you just thought a little differently about money and noticed an old belief popping up, that's it too. These are the moments where transformation happens. Not in the big, dramatic gestures, but in the quiet, steady steps you take every day. Maybe you're still working your way out of debt or just starting to save. Maybe your goals feel far away. That's okay. You're not behind. You're not late. You are right where you need to be. Every journey has stumbles and detours. Every success story is filled with setbacks, second guesses, and days that feel like you're standing still. But here's what matters: you get back up. You keep coming back to your why. That vision you have for your life, the peace, the pride, the freedom. With every habit you practice, every decision you make, you're building a new story. A story where you call the shots. Where you're not just reacting to life, but shaping it, step by step. And it's so important to acknowledge that. I know it's easy to focus on what still needs to be done, to see only the distance between where you are and where you want to be. But I challenge you, right now, to look at the ground you've already covered. Think about the little wins along the way. The time you said not today to a temptation. The time you paused to check your goal before making a decision. The moments when you could have given up, but didn't. That's how pride is built. Not from having it all together, but from the willingness to keep going, even when it's tough. It's about progress, not perfection. And honestly, perfection doesn't exist. There's no finish line where everything is suddenly easy and nothing ever goes wrong. There will always be new challenges, new opportunities, and yes, new mistakes. But that's part of it. That's where growth happens. That's where you get to discover just how resilient, creative, and capable you really are. So, celebrate that. Celebrate your effort, your intention, and your courage to try. And please, don't wait until you reach some big milestone to be proud of yourself. Be proud right now, today, for every single step you've taken. Because those steps are creating your financial future. You're learning to trust yourself. You're learning to show up for your goals, even when life is messy or unpredictable. That's powerful. When you hit a roadblock, remember, it's not a sign to stop, it's just a curve in the road. Everyone faces setbacks. Everyone gets off track sometimes. But what sets you apart is that you get back on. You reflect, you adjust, and you keep moving. That's resilience. If you're listening to this, you're already proving to yourself that you care enough to invest in your growth. And that's something to honor. You're teaching yourself, and maybe even those around you, that change is possible, no matter where you start. Imagine looking back a year from now. Imagine the habits you'll have built, the confidence you'll feel, the peace that grows as you trust your process. That future version of you? They're going to thank you for every effort you made, big and small. Because it all adds up. One choice, one day at a time. You're not alone on this path, either. We're here with you, cheering you on, celebrating your progress and supporting you through the rough patches. Whenever you need a reminder, come back to this space. Let yourself be encouraged, inspired, and, most of all, reminded of how far you've come. If you notice old fears or doubts creeping in, take a breath. Remember that the journey is yours. No one else walks in your shoes. Your version of progress will look different from anyone else's, and that's not just okay, it's beautiful. You don't have to do this perfectly. In fact, the real magic is in showing up, again and again, for the life you want to create. So, today, I want you to find one thing, just one, that you feel proud of. Maybe it's a habit you stuck with this week. Maybe it's an attitude shift. Maybe it's simply deciding not to give up. Hold that feeling for a minute. Let yourself really feel proud. That's fuel for the next step forward. Because pride isn't something you wait to feel when you arrive, it's something you build by honoring your progress right now. Each victory, no matter how small, is proof of your commitment. And if you stumble tomorrow, that doesn't erase today's progress. It just means you're human. You can always start again. That's the gift of this journey. You get endless chances to learn, to grow, and to celebrate. So keep setting those goals. Keep building those habits. Keep dreaming, even when things get hard. And don't forget to look back and notice all the ways you've changed already. You're rewriting your story, one page at a time. And that's something to be incredibly proud of. As we wrap up today, I just want to thank you. Thank you for trusting yourself enough to start. Thank you for showing up, day after day, even when motivation wavers. Thank you for believing that you deserve a life of financial peace and pride. We're honored to be a part of your journey. Remember, no matter where you are right now, your financial future is being built one day at a time. Every step counts. Every choice matters. And you don't have to walk this road alone. We'll be here, cheering you on, offering guidance, and celebrating your progress every step of the way. So hold your head high. Feel that sense of accomplishment. You're doing something incredible, something that most people only dream about. You're building a future you can be proud of, one intentional step at a time. Keep going. We're with you. And we can't wait to see where your journey leads next.